We are at war. And today, the Balagan Connection wants to talk about the war that's going on, that's literally being fought right now uh, over the skies of Israel. We're going to talk about what it looks like from an Israeli point of view. We're going to talk about what it looks like in Iran, in Tehran, what's happening there and what's not happening there. We'll talk about the United States and how it mixes into all of this. And like everything else, we're going to talk about end time prophecy and how this actually lines up to everything that we know is about to happen. So let's start off with the beginning. What I want to do is kind of give a quick explanation of what this war looks like from the Israeli side. And again, people are living their life, but nobody's going to work right now. Nobody's going to school right now. We're in a war footing. The government has asked people to stay close to shelter, close to bomb shelters, close to mamads. Mamad is a name or a word that you need to understand and is connected there. It's not an actual bomb shelter like you think. It is a steel reinforced room that is actually dedicated for protecting people in case of these kinds of war. And there's a mamad in every apartment, at least every apartment that's been built in the last 20, 25 years. So the mamad is the safe room, for lack of a better word. It's usually one of the rooms in the house, meaning one of the bedrooms in the house. So before the siren goes off, okay, we get indications that the Iranians are about to shoot ballistic missiles. The ballistic missile takes something like 9.5 minutes. So usually you're going to get a warning on your cell phone that says they're getting ready to shoot. Be close to your mamad. Be close to your safe place. Then the idea is you get ready, you go to the bathroom, you take some water in, and then the siren goes off. The siren goes off when they know that there are rockets in the air and they know approximately where the impact is going to be. So sometimes you'll get sirens in the north, sometimes you'll get sirens in the south, and sometimes you'll get sirens across the whole country. Everybody runs into the mamad. If you're at home, you want to walk into the bedroom. If you're outside, you walk into the closest place and you find where the bomb shelter is or where the cover is. And if you can't do anything else, you go into an underground parking or something like that. So the sirens go off. Everybody goes into the mamad. They close the door. There's an iron window that you have to close. You get the dog settled down. You get the kids to stop crying, and you wait. And then the booms start. Now, I don't know if you know, but when an interceptor actually shot into the air, it makes a loud noise. When the interceptor intercepts the incoming rocket, it makes a loud noise. And when the rocket falls to the ground, whether it is intercepted or not, it makes a lot of noise. The biggest noise is when it does hit the ground and the probably 400 pounds of high explosive explode and create that shock wave that everybody is talking about. So you're sitting in the mamad and you're waiting, and you hear boom and you go, oh, that's the interceptor. Oh, boom, that's this. And then boom, oh. And the idea is you're praying that it's not going to hit you on top of the head. The interceptors actually come in three main levels. I'm going to say like this. There's the high level that tries to intercept the ballistic missiles when they're up in the atmosphere, upper atmosphere, and in actually in space. We intercepted a couple in space this time. Then there's a mid-range interceptors. It's a DaviD sling for probably about 20, 25 miles out when we try to intercept that. And the lowest level of the interceptor is the Iron Dome. It takes on whatever has not fallen in or large debris that is falling on somebody's home. And then there's quiet. And now the question is, what has happened? How many have been intercepted? How many have gotten through? What's going on? What's the situation on the ground? And you start going into the news and saying, okay, they say we have heard sounds of explosions in Tel Aviv. We've heard sounds of explosions in Petah Tikva. Okay, and the rescue teams rush to the sites to see what the result is. and you're sitting on in the bomb shelter hoping that it's not somebody that you know, it's not somebody that you connect. You hear that there's been one of them got through and hit Petah Tikva, so everybody's calling their family in Petah Tikva to see if everything's okay. You hear that some of them, if one of them fell in Bat Yam, okay, so everybody who knows somebody in Bat Yam is calling Bat Yam to see if everything's okay. In the meantime, we're waiting inside the bomb shelter because it takes probably about 10, 15 minutes until you are allowed, until all the rockets have been accounted for and people are allowed out. And now the story is what has exactly happened. The bomb shelter, the mamad, will save people's lives, even in case of a direct hit. Now, today, for the first time, tonight, we lost 8 people. One of the reasons is that one of the buildings that was hit collapsed. The whole building collapsed. It was a multi-story building, but the mamad actually was safe. Meaning, even if the building collapses on the mamad, it will not crumble. But people were trapped inside the mamad underneath the building for something like 4 or 5 hours. There was a fire going on, and that's what caused, I mean, altogether, I think 3 or 4 people were trapped inside, and we couldn't get to them in time. On the whole, though, Israel specializes in rescue and retrieving people from underneath these kind of rubbles. So the news starts, okay, there's been such and such amount of people wounded. The devastation is horrific, meaning the buildings themselves look like they've been completely destroyed, even if the cost of life is relatively low. That's what it looks like in Israel. That's what the situation, this is what all Israelis are living with right now. I don't want to make it overly dramatic because I do want to say something else, and I think this is important for people to understand. The amount of rockets, ballistic rockets, and the tonnage of explosive is horrific. I mean, and they're firing at population centers because they can't really aim them very well, and the ballistic missiles need to swerve. So all the targets that have been hit, except for 1 or 2, have been residential areas. By the way, quick note, some of the debris fell on the American consulate in Tel Aviv. I talked to Mike Huckerby a little while ago, and he says everybody's okay, but they've actually hit the American consulate in Tel Aviv, which is another kind of dynamic. What I'm trying to say is this. God has a dome over Israel. This is a war. We've had to fight it. We knew this was coming. Everybody is saying today we should have taken on Iran a long time ago and finished the problem because Iran's nuclear threat was much more than we ever thought it was. And it's going to be much harder to root it out than, we knew probably we wouldn't be able to completely finish it. We have probably set it back a while. We'll talk about what's happening in Iran in a minute. But there is a God's dome over Israel. And I truly believe that part of the reason there is a God's dome over Israel, part of the reason that we're not talking about hundreds or maybe even thousands of casualties in this kind of bombardment of a civilian population, the only reason it's not worse is because God is looking out for us, and God is looking out for us, I think, to a certain extent, as a result of a lot of prayer. People from all over the world are praying for Israel. So after you understand what's going on and you understand the danger of it and the fear and it's turned into something that we have to deal with, and it's like something that we understand we have to deal with because our enemies who actually want to have us killed have to be put under and have to lose their ability to hurt us like that. But what I'm trying to say to you and all the people who are listening to me and all the people that I'm getting these messages from and all the people that I'm hearing from, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Thank you for asking God to keep his dome over us. The godly dome is more important than the Iron Dome, the David Sling, the THAAD, and the Arrows 1, 2, and 3 all put together. And God has been looking out for his people. And we understand that Iran needs to be put in its place. Iran needs to give up its nuclear capabilities. And what happened now is something that you see evil festering in the corner, and you say, okay, now it needs to be taken care of. We can't allow this to continue. And here's what Israel has been done. Israel has gone in and first of all taken out Iran's anti-air or air defense capabilities. We did it with a combination of airstrikes, but also a lot of people in Iran on the ground. Some of them actually Israeli Mossad agents on the ground in Iran put together a drone and missile facility and literally fired missiles and drones from inside Iran to take out some of the radars and some of the capabilities inside. Another thing that they're doing inside Iran is marking out the ballistic missiles. Every time a ballistic missile comes out of a tunnel in the mountain, they mark it off, and we try to hit them as quickly as possible. In the meantime, all of Iran's military assets are a legitimate target. We've taken out the heads of the military itself, the commanders. We've taken out most of the heads of the Republican Guards. We've taken out all of the scientists that are connected to the program or to the nuclear program. They're precision strikes. You look at the strikes, you can see the hole that goes into, basically into the building where there was a nuclear scientist that was taken out. It's not to cause as much casualties, but it is to hit the strikes. It's to hit the targets themselves. On the other hand, when we're hitting the nuclear facilities, we use large ordnance that goes into the mountain as deep as possible. And there's a huge difference between what we're doing and what they're doing. Israel has decided not to take in the civilian, not even the civilian leadership. I don't know if you know, but we had a possibility or capability to take out Khamenei, who is the supreme leader. We're not sure whether we decided not to or President Trump actually got in the middle and said, don't take him out. But on the whole, we have not been targeting civilian capabilities. That might change because of Iran's attacking the civilian casualties, the civilian population in Israel. As of now, Israel is acting alone. The United States is not helping us. The United States has said very clearly that it's not going to be a part of this. And we are actually on our own, but we will need the United States a little bit later, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Israel has made an effort or made it clear that we're not going to take on the economic targets, though I don't know if you understand. We have free free control over the airspace over all of Iran right now. Israel can do what it wants. We can take out their oil facilities. We can send them back many, many years. We can take out electricity. We are not doing that yet. The one gas facility was hit, big fire in Tehran, just to make it kind of clear that we can. But as of now, that is the situation. Everybody's talking about what's going on in Iran, and we see the pictures, we see the videos of a huge traffic jam. Everybody is leaving. There's an exodus from Tehran. There's an exodus from the main cities, and there's an exodus from Iran of some of the leadership that is actually moving to get out of Iran as soon as possible. Let's see what happened. Nothing serious. So that is the situation in Iran, though I'm going to say it like this. A lot of people are talking about the only solution, the only end game to this is the Iranian people rising up and overthrowing the Iranian government. I'm not sure that is going to happen, and it's really, really touch and go. I mean, the Iranians are very proud people. They're proud of their history. They're proud of their destiny. They're proud of their backdrop. I mean, they are a very, very proud people. And what I'm trying to say is I don't see them standing up and waving the white flag anytime soon. Don't forget that the Republic, the Islamic Republic of Iran actually has been in place for something like 40 years. So That is the situation. I know there's a lot of people saying that maybe we should or we could or whatever. I don't believe that the Iranian regime is about to fall. Israel is paying the price for all of the world. A nuclear Iran is a global threat. It's not only a threat for Israel, it's not only a threat in the Middle East, it is a threat for the rest of the world. Fundamentalist, jihadist Islam is a threat to world peace. I mean, it's not by chance that 98% of all terrorist attacks that have taken place in the last 40 years have been Muslims. It's not by chance that the most anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-West scenario are the Muslims. Now, there's Muslims in all the Western nations. There's Muslims in America. There's Muslims in England and France. France has almost become a Muslim nation. But basically, Islam is the main counterbalance or the main protagonist fighting against the Western world. And if the Western world is a reflection of Western values, is a reflection of the Judeo-Christian creed, then the main threat to Judeo-Christian Western values is the Muslim world today. And make that very clear. Think about this. If Osama bin Laden could have gotten his hands on a nuclear weapon, if he was willing to do that to the Twin Towers and the White House and the Pentagon, think what he would have been willing to do with a nuclear weapon. If Saddam Hussein had a nuclear capability, think of what he would have done. And what I'm trying to say is a nuclear Iran is an existential threat to Western civilization. That is something that needs to sink in. And Israel is taking it on. Israel is actually taking on and trying to wipe this threat off the table. But we're paying a price. And this is not just our war. This is not just Iran, because Iran makes it very clear. I mean, if you ever see in the movies, they yell, death to Israel, and immediately after that, death to the United States, death to America, the Houthis, death to Israel, death to America. I'm trying to say is this is a war that Israel is fighting not only for Israel, but for all of Western civilization. But Israelis are dying. 8 died today. 4 died yesterday. Altogether, a couple hundred people have been hurt. Altogether, a couple hundred families have lost their homes. They're doing this in order to deal with the Iranian nuclear problem. This is a moral responsibility that Israel has taken on. But this is also a prophetic responsibility that Israel has taken on. And I'm still surprised that the United States hasn't picked up on this. And I'm still surprised that there are people in the United States that say they shouldn't be pulled into this. Like, if Iran ever gets a nuclear weapon, like the United States will not be a target. Like England and all the Western world will not be a target. Think about Iran and everything that they've done in the last 15 years since the republic, since the revolution, okay? Think of an Iran that has all of that ambition to destroy the West and nuclear capability. And you don't even have to use it. All you need to do is threaten it. And Jews are dying. Israelis are dying. And I'm asking myself, where is the United States? Yes, we have a pro-Israel regime. We have a pro-Israel administration. And I think most of the people in the United States have supported Israel and are supporting Israel. But so far, the U.S. has stayed out of this. And I'm not sure why. I think part of the problem is Trump only bets on winning horses. And until he knows how this is going to play out, I'm not sure he's willing to set up or take a chance on betting on something that could turn out bad for him. So I think the United States and the rest of the world, and I'm telling you very truthfully, the Arab world is waiting to see what's going to happen. I'm not sure what it would take for the United States to join into this conflict. Um, One, if Iran makes the mistake and hits American troops, if an American soldier dies in Iraq or in Syria or in one of the Gulf states because of this, if that happens, the United States will have no choice. But I think Iran is going to be very careful not to do that. Um, what I'm trying to think is two things. If Israel is triumphant enough, if Israel manages to beat Iran down to its knees enough, I think the American administration and Trump would join Bibi in a victory march. And I think Bibi would allow Trump to take some of or all of the credit for what is happening. The reason I'm making this an issue is because we might be able to set back the Iranian regime, we might be able to set back the Iranian nuclear program, but we will not be able to completely take it off. The enriched uranium that is enough to build at least one, maybe eight nuclear bombs, that enriched uranium is somewhere spread around somewhere in Iran, and we are not going to find it. We have to make sure that they cannot make any more, and some of the facilities are so deep that we will need American B-2s with the big, massive buster bunkers in order to get into some of those sites. So it doesn't feel like we're going to completely solve the nuclear program without the United States getting into the war. And the United States until now has been non-decisive and hasn't kind of committed completely. Is the Iranian regime falling apart? Yes and no. We're seeing signs of cracking. We're seeing internal unrest. We're seeing fear and tension in the streets of Iran. We're seeing cracks in the Iranian regime, but we're not seeing a break. By the way, very interesting, Qatar is freaked out. And there's a lot of reports that the Qataris are really worried about what's going on. But I don't believe Iran is ready to break. What would make them break completely, and I've been very clear about this, but who am I to this? I think Israel needs to hit more Iranian symbols, the big statues of Khamenei and the big there's a big center for the Iran-Iraq war, or the statues of Iranian sovereignty. I mean, their version of the Washington monuments. I mean, it has to hit the symbols of the regime in order to make the Iranian people rise up. I don't know if you know, but there's a doomsday clock in downtown Tehran that I'm dying for Israel to kind of hit. Doomsday clock is a clock that actually indicates the amount of time running down until 2040. That is, according to some of the prophecies in the Shiite mentality, that will be when Israel is destroyed. That is classic. Take that out. Make it clear. I mean, make it clear to the Iranian people that they have no success with this crazy death teaching Iranian mentality. And then let's go into what's going to happen, because Iran has to be beaten enough for it to agree that it's not going to kill Jews anymore. Iran has to be beaten enough that it has to agree that it's not going to seek to destroy Israel. And everybody says, oh, no, Iran will never agree to this. The Arabs will not agree to this. It's a Muslim pride issue. And I'm here to remind everybody that, wait a minute. We thought that the Egyptians would never agree. But look at the peace agreement we have with the Egyptians, and most of the Egyptian people still hate Israel. There are TV shows that are anti-Semitic in the extreme, and crazy in the extreme, but still the Egyptian regime has held up this peace agreement even with all of the stress that's gone on. Egypt, same thing. Egypt is mostly Jordan is mostly Palestinians, and both have signed on to the Arab Accords, the Abrahamic Accords. What I'm trying to say is that even though the people, the Muslims themselves, are anti-Israel and anti-Semitic in the extremes, the regimes can reach agreements. I mean, a quick reminder: look at even the Palestinian Authority, that has given up killing Israelis in order to try to reach some kind of an agreement. And again, we haven't reached an agreement, but they have given up on the war. Arab countries are waiting in line to sign peace treaties the minute all of this is over. If Israel does manage to beat Iran down, there's at least, I'm going to say, 10 countries, maybe 8, okay, that would line up to be a part of the Abrahamic Accords tomorrow. That's what would happen if Iran falls. A flood of normalization. The Lebanese are waiting for this. The Syrians are waiting for this. Maybe even Turkey would see that that's the best interest. I mean, if this happens, peace breaks out in the Middle East. What does that mean? Open your Bible to Ezekiel 38. If peace breaks out after this war, we are looking at prophecy unfolding as it is. Iran is the modern day Persia, actually mentioned directly in Ezekiel. So here's the situation. Israel is bleeding, but we're standing in there. We're beating Iran down. And the question is, who's going to break first? Is Israel going to break because of the casualties and you see what's going on and it tears our heart? Or is Israel going to stand resilient and Iran is going to break and say, we're giving up, at least officially, on our need to kill Jews and destroy Israel? And if that happens, and if Iran is subdued, the rest of the Middle East is going to line up for a peace agreement. That's in the prophecy, and that's going to be the backdrop of the final events that we're talking about in the book of Ezekiel. So that is what's going on in Israel. That's what's going on in Tehran. That's the connection between Israel, Tehran, I guess, and the United States. That's what you need to understand right now. And again, if you think that this message and this podcast has been interesting, I need you please to subscribe if you haven't, to share this episode with other people. Other people need to understand the whole dynamic of what's happening in Israel. Leave a comment. We love your comments. Me and Christy read the comments, and we're really, really connected to that. We're not just reporting this. We're trying to help you understand how this actually is seen through the lens of the Israelis, through the lens of your Bible, and through the lens of the historical backdrop of all of this. We need you to support Israel right now. We need you to stand for Israel. A good way to do that is click the link down below here or scan this QR code. We're part of an organization called Gihon Springs, put up by Jeff Johnson. It's Father's Day today, and we're all mourning the loss of the father of this family and the father of Calvary Chapel Downey, and one of the most important pastors in the evangelical movement in the United States. But Jeff Johnson, before he passed away, put it together a ministry that is directly supporting. We support widows in Israel. We support a dog company or organization that puts together service dogs. We support a couple of the congregations in Israel. We support a printing press that prints Christian scripture in Arabic and in Hebrew. So if you want to be a part of any of that direct support, hit the Gihon Springs website or click on the QR code. If you want to support me and Christy because there's no tourism for the near future, that's a way to do this. I need your feedback in connection to these. These are movies that takes a while to put together, and I think they're really important. So please pray for us. Leave your comments and pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Israel is at war, and we're being bloodied right now. Pray that we will have the stamina and the resilience to take on and finish what needs to be done in Iran, so we will all have a quieter life. And pray for what happens after we do vanquish Iran and peace comes to the Middle East. what's going to happen after that. This is DaviD TaL. This is the Balagan Connection. Hope to see you soon.